Welcome to the Titan Dome for Tuesday Night Hoops on BCSN. It's round 2 of this great track rivalry as the St. John Jesuit Titans host the Central Catholic Fighting Irish. Welcome aboard, everybody. Mason Lowry with you alongside Dion Thompson. Great to have you with us for this one. These two teams met on the second Friday of this regular season. Central Catholic won it at the Sullivan Center, but Dion, both of these teams have grown up a ton since then.
And you know what happens whenever these two get together. We've witnessed so many historical finishes when Central Catholic gets together with St. John's. You're right. They both are playing pretty good. Even that first game was very close. Interested to see what happens tonight, Mace.
Yeah, the Titans have one big addition from the opening weeks of the season, and that is the Rogers transfer, Caleb Smith, finally eligible to go for the first time last Friday against Findlay. He was huge, poured in 18 points in a priceless win on the road.
Well, you talk about a win. If you can ever get a win at Findlay, that's huge. And Caleb Smith, he's that scorer that they needed. If you've been watching us, Mace, we've been talking about St. John's. They're a scorer away from being very effective, and I think Caleb Smith is that guy. You said he had 18 points already in double figures. He's definitely going to be a key to St. John's tonight if they plan on stealing one.
Well, we hear so often about how many football guys this Central Catholic team has. Ironically enough, it's a basketball kid in Cam Alls who, along with the football standout John Zell Norrells, really make this team go.
Well, when you talk about Cam Alls, I mean, he's definitely a kid that's really, his game has really evolved. You know, he's a guy that plays the point guard, plays a lot of minutes for him. He is kind of the unspoken leader, kind of lays in the background. He lets us play do the talking. I'm expecting a big night from him tonight as well. They're going to have one if Central wants to win. That's my prediction. Not Central, not St. John's. Stick around, though.
Really looking forward to this one. Hope you will stick around. It's St. John's, it's Central, and it's next on BCSN. We welcome you back inside the Titan Dome. Central Catholic and St. John's, the Irish 8-5 overall, 3-4 in conference play. Like St. John's, also 3-4, the Titans are 6-6 overall. Central Catholic beat St. John's on December the 7th. That was the second Friday of the season. Beat them 43-39 at their place. You get the sense, just from hanging around the team for a few minutes before tip-off, they are really, really up for this one.
Yeah, they really are. And we talked about there is an X factor that's now playing in this game. And he goes by the name of Caleb Smith. He was not available the first game. So, you know, we talked about it. He had 18. And trust me, folks, anybody who's in this track league knows how hard it is to get a win at Findlay.
Absolutely.
It's always been that way. And St. John's went up there and stole one.
Tonight's starting lineups coming your way. It's Norrells, Alls, and Cross. 3 guards in the starting lineup for Central Catholic, along with Kendall Marshall and Dominique Cole up front. St. John's counters with Caleb Smith now in the starting lineup. He plays out on the wing. Peyton Moyer and Brady Lichtenberg in the backcourt. Freshman and a junior starting in the paint. A.J. Jump and Gary Batch. Dimitri Mitsopoulos, by the way, the player that makes way in the starting 5 for Caleb Smith. And that means that St. John's now has some punch coming off the bench, which they maybe didn't have before.
No, they did not. And like I said, they were in search of a score. If you watch us on Fridays on Game Day Nation, this was the side I was talking about. I said, man, St. John's needs to find another score. And I was interested to see how they would look with Caleb Smith back. Now he's back. And it's going to be, you know, the rest of the league should be on notice. Now let's talk about the Central Catholic team. They are a team that is on the cusp. I'm telling you right now, I don't know when it's going to happen, but they're going to pull off a big one. They've been in every game they've played.
Of the 5 losses for the season, all of them by 8 points or fewer. They have been in a lot of big games, and they are due to win a big one.
And a lot of their wounds have kind of been self-inflicted. Mason, if you watch the Whitmer game, you know, they missed a few layups. They would turn the ball over, which is uncharacteristic.
Tip is controlled by St. John's. They're in the home white. Central Catholic in the road red uniforms. Peyton Moyer, St. John's top scorer at just over 15 points a game, but the only man averaging in double figures. It's a nice feed inside for A.J. Jump. The freshman got his defender up in the air, missed the shot, missed the second one as well. Thrown away by Dominique Cole, and here come the Irish.
Well, they have to make those.
Central Catholic had their biggest defeat of the season to this point last Friday on BCSN, an 8-point loss at home to St. Francis as Cole comes up empty on the jumper. Both teams have played really good teams tough. Both played Lima tough, both played Whitmer very tough.
We talked about the second half of the season in the track. I really think now they missed Caleb Smith right there. He's wide open. Good look.
Through the double team that time. Here is Lichtenberg. The floater rattles out. Pulled down by Kendall Marshall.
He's moving really well.
All's a little out of control as he drove baseline. Yeah. One of the things that Ed Heinschel has said this year, I don't really have bigs so much as I have mediums. Yeah. Central Catholic a bit bigger, a bit more athletic. Samaj Cross lines up a three, couldn't connect.
You know, both teams are getting some good looks early on.
Smith, that's a three. His first basket in this building.
And that's what he brings you to. He's going to bring that intensity. He's going to bring that dog, as I like to call it. See his brother in the front row cheering him on.
Unlike a lot of other guys on this St. John's team, he comes in with significant varsity experience. Cole, an air ball from the outside.
Cole's taking a lot of jump shots early. I'm not sure if that's by design. Obviously not. We just saw a substitution right now.
Go over the bench. Ray Sanders comes in before that ball even hit the deck on the baseline. Mike Floyd in motion down to the end of his bench.
Well, watch this run and jump that Central likes to employ right here. They do a great job.
Smith, 5-0.
That's a good no call by the officials.
Marshall into the paint. Nice drive and dish. That's what they do best. Samaj cross-handed swirl out. He's 0 for 2 from long range.
You know, Marshall is a guy that's going to have to get started offensively, too. Last year, he was really a good weapon. Hey, run and jump. Beautiful defense right there. Speaking of Marshall.
Speaking of weapons, he's so big and so strong. He's 6'3", but like a bull in a china shop in the best possible way.
Yeah. And that was, like I said, he came up. Strong guy. You know, Central's never have football guys. They got a lot of basketball players on this team too.
Cameron Alls is all basketball, and he has given Mike Floyd a huge boost this year. What a stop in the paint, and he lays it in. Gary Batch overran him defensively.
That was beautiful. Alls had great body control right there. He went down, jump stop, reverse pivot left. Here comes that run and jump.
Got a lot of guys that are so long and athletic, like you said. They can make trying to get the ball up the court against them an absolute nightmare. Kendall Marshall is called for the first foul of the game.
Well, I think that's what you have to do against St. John's. I mean, they don't, like Coach Heinz said, we don't have a big. They don't really have a true point guard. I guess Lichtenberg is coming on, the quarterback.
Had a good look at Coach Floyd a moment ago. I asked him, when was the last time you were here in a game? And he said, senior night.
Hey.
Late 90s. Though he does come here on Sundays occasionally and play some pickup ball. In the lane, that's Lichtenberg, and that's 7-2.
Hey, shouts out to him. He just collected another offer from Bowling Green this week.
What a tremendous college quarterback he's going to be right now. Yeah. He's a pretty darn good high school basketball player. Yeah, Central Catholic getting some good looks in the early going, but the shots just aren't falling. Lichtenberg, a guy that can make from the outside. Moyer hasn't had many touches offensively. The little crossover to get away from Cross. There goes Batch, swatted away by Ray Sanders.
I didn't know Moyer had that pad in him.
Alls. Tough shot off the side of the backboard, able to corral it though. Here goes Marshall against Caleb Smith. Nice body control there, and he gets a kind roll.
I'd like to see Kendall Marshall do more of that. You see how he just uses his strong upper body, got to the basket, created a shot. He can do that on a lot of people in this league.
Great to see Lichtenberg moving well, too. That tough injury at the end of football season.
Oh, yeah, he's back. He's definitely back.
That knee brace, I noticed, getting a bit smaller. It was a little bit bigger and more bulky at the start of the season when he came back. There's A.J. Jump, the freshman, with his first points of the night.
He's got a good future ahead of him, too. Talk about a freshman getting a lot of experience. We're going to be talking about this guy for a long time.
Very intelligent young man, a coach's son.
Coach Jump, the job he did out of Southview was outstanding. So he's been around that his whole life.
Alls into the paint. That's Marshall. Short on the three. Picked up by Moyer and then Caleb Smith. Smith had the Titans' first 5 points. Moyer tiptoeing along the baseline from the outside. This is Jump.
Oh, man. I tell you what. Timeout, coach.
A.J. Jump.
That's a great timeout. You do not want to get them involved, the fans.
A.J. Jump, who Ed Heinschel told us might be hitting something of a freshman wall. Some of his numbers have plateaued a little bit since a really good start. Just had a terrific 30 seconds on the offensive end.
Yeah, he's got that Christian Laettner looking release. Kids, go on and Google that. You'll know what I'm talking about. You have YouTube now. But like I say, Jump, even that shot right there, when I watched Jump earlier in the season, he was not playing with that type of confidence. He's playing like a more confident individual. Yes, he's a freshman, I guess if you want to say in years, but he's definitely starting to grow up, you know, in terms of basketball-wise. He's playing the second half of the season really well.
Your number 40 here at St. John's for Ed Heinschel. His team got a huge win. We mentioned it in the open at Findlay on Friday. Went down, and you talked about it. Maybe the toughest place to win in the track. Certainly up there with places like St. John's and St. Francis. Tough to go and win at Whitmer, too. Moyer had 19, got 18 from Caleb Smith in his first appearance. That's Fred Overton in off the bench, a guy that really can light it up for the Irish.
That's a guy you really got to watch.
Norrells driving, threw up a wild shot. Didn't take a deflection on its way out of bounds.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, I've been saying it all year. I said, okay, my prediction, St. John's, they're going to struggle at the beginning of the year, but watch them. Even in their struggle, they exhibited good offense. They did a lot of good things. They just didn't have guys that could put it in the hole.
Brett Boyd and I talked about that after St. John's lost to St. Francis. So an 18-game winning streak over their rivals come to an end. They're doing a lot of good stuff. They're running good offense. They're defending well. They just can't make enough shots. And having Caleb Smith available should certainly help in that regard.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there it is.
Great contest by Kendall Marshall. The steal.
And one.
He pushed off. Yes, he did.
Ooh.
Wiped the basket away.
We'll take a look at let's take a look at this again.
It's the right arm out right there.
Yeah. But I do think Marshall is a guy, though. You know, he cannot let that discourage him because I'm telling you, when he gets going to the basket, he settles for a lot of threes. When he gets going to the rack, nobody wants to body up with that big guy. He can do so much for him.
He may not have the chance to get down the lane again for a while. That was his second foul. May have to sit for a bit. Catch and shoot three for Peyton Moyer. He was fouled in the act by Samaj Cross.
That's 3 shots right there. You never want to foul a three-point shooter. I'm going to tell you something too, Mace. Even though St. John's, they struggled early, a lot of guys got an opportunity to play more. A lot of guys got opportunities to, for example, Moyer's played the off guard his whole career. He had a chance to work on his ball handling, he and Lichtenberg, and now it's starting to pay off.
Moyer, who has really become the go-to guy on this St. John's offense this year. The returning player that had the most varsity experience, too. Got a lot of confidence on the offensive end. He's worked very, very hard to try and get his own shot. And there really is an adjustment that you have to go through, and you go from being the 4th or 5th option on offense to all of a sudden you have to be the guy who is at the top of everybody else's scouting report.
Yes, that's a big difference. And now, like we said, you know, with Lichtenberg coming in and Smith, this is a formidable team.
Moyer hits 2 of 3 from the line.
You know, I talked to Coach Heinzel before the game, and he was saying, I said, Coach, I'm trying to think, when was the last time you had a team like this? In all respect, he said, yeah, it's been when I first started, but I'm having a lot of fun coaching these guys.
Elijah Kimmons in the game, got a steal at one end. Peyton Moyer almost took it back.
Yeah, Elijah's a great kid, great athlete. A state qualifier in the high jump.
I can see that. Dominique Cole back in for the Irish. Thomas Zyrus in as well for St. John's. Brady Lichtenberg will return as well. We'll see Jack Ryder for the first time.
This is a wholesale line change, if you will.
How many St. John's lineups have you seen over the years, Dion, that does not have a senior in it? Not a one on the floor right now for the Titans. Foul called, going to get Ryder inside as he battled with Cole.
It's unusual. You know, it's funny to say that. I actually thought Caleb Smith was a senior, but he's only a junior.
He's got one more year.
So they got Cole is doing a good job of posting up. Let's see if they try to get it to him on the inside.
Alls the show and go, and a nice finish off glass.
That's a beautiful way to play through contact right there on Alls. Alls is a guy that rarely comes out the game too, if you watch it. Nice show and go right there by Smith.
Nice finish. He's got 7 points. You can already see how he is becoming a focal point of this St. John's offense.
Well, the thing that I'm watching too, he's also a good passer. You got to throw it inside when Cole has that type of post position. They're doing a good job. They're on overture. They know Fred to go to the rack, shoot the three.
Denied that time by Ryder. Smith, oh, what a pass inside to Kimmons.
I just talked about his ability to see the ball. Great finish right there by Kimmons. But that's what happens. Caleb Smith draws so much attention on the offensive end. He can do that.
Off the fingertips of Dominique Cole right at the end of the quarter. 0.2 seconds on this first quarter clock.
And that was the right play. That was actually the right play. They just didn't finish.
Ryder from half court. Wide of the mark. And that ends a first quarter dominated by the St. John's Jesuit Titans. 8 minutes in the books here at the Titan Dome. And St. John's putting on a show, up a dozen on Central Catholic. Second quarter is underway here at St. John's. The Titans with an 18-6 lead on Central Catholic. Mason Lowry, Deion Thompson, great to have you along. Deion, thoughts on the first 8 minutes?
Oh, I thought St. John's did an excellent job in terms of their execution. Lichtenberg passed up a jump shot right there.
Here's Dimitri Mitsopoulos into the paint.
Look at the ball movement.
Zyrus clangs the jumper. Here comes John Zell Norrells, who was a non-factor in that first quarter. Jump stop in the lane. Tipped around, grabbed by Dominique Cole, and he was fouled.
Norrells got away with a travel right there.
I did say jump stop in air quotes.
Yeah. Oh, but like I said, I think the first quarter, I thought St. John's, they're trying to send a message. But with Central, what you get with them, they have so many different guys that they can play. They did a good job on slowing Norrells up.
Got everything right but the finish that time. Loose on the deck, picked up under the basket by Jack Ryder. Terrific tight end to a big slot receiver from football season.
Well, like I said, I'm seeing.
Now, if you're Central Catholic, you got to stop. You got to turn that into offense.
Well, you want to take advantage of this lineup too if you're Central Catholic. A lot of the starters are out.
Tough shot, but it goes for Jonathan Burks.
Burks is flexing. I'm not sure you should flex on that shot right there. Nonetheless, good finish by Burks. Oh, good D right there by All.
Read well by the junior. Contested by Metsopoulos, who fouled him.
Starting to see a little shift in the momentum of the game. One thing about Central that you notice, those guys have very quick hands. They're very aggressive. You better be strong with the basketball when you're playing against this Central Catholic defense.
Cameron Alls has 4 of Central Catholic's points. 5'11" junior. Was a bit part player last year as a sophomore. Saw a little bit of him coming off the bench. This year playing a starring role, to be sure.
You know, he's a kid I heard a lot about. Thank you, Francis Stevens.
Yes, indeed.
But seriously, you know, he did a lot in the summer. I know his dad works with him too. Had the opportunity to talk to his dad, Terry, before the game. He's excited. He's happy, and he should be. His kid's playing really well.
I asked Coach Floyd what has made him so effective this year and said, I love his aggressiveness. The problem, though, sometimes we need him to be a little bit more aggressive, and we have to remind him to do what he does.
I would agree with that assessment wholeheartedly with Coach Floyd. I think he's correct. There are times he disappears, is what he's saying.
Metsopoulos driving, 3 defenders around him. That means Moyer wide open from the outside.
You cannot leave him open. He's probably, if not the best three-point shooter in the conference, he's definitely in the top 3.
Very smart young man, Peyton Moyer. Got a better than a 4.0 GPA, and that is another offensive foul on Central Catholic that wipes away a basket.
Take a look at that right there. Is that
Well, let's see. What do you think,
No,
Dave?
I don't agree with that call at all. I think 44, Batch, I think he was jumping and moving with him. I think that's where the contact was created initially.
Might have to have a word with our friend Ralph Green after the show.
Hey, they've been doing a great job, though. You know, like I said, I mean, when you get a game of this magnitude, you know, like I said, I really enjoyed the officiating this season.
That is not a play that Peyton Moyer would have made last year, I don't think.
Mace, great point. That's what he has developed. He's finally learning to not only, you know, shoot the jump shot, but when he's shot face, because he's so effective at the 3, he has that opportunity.
Sanders spinning, bumped from behind by Brady Lichtenberg. I talked with Ed Heinschel about Peyton Moyer and his confidence. He said there was a time in the loss to Lorraine in the regional final last year where he turned to Mike Schoen, his lead assistant, and said, next year we're going to need a couple of extra threes a game from Peyton Moyer. And he said, frankly, I wasn't sure if he could have handled that at the time. This year, no problem. He is a much more confident kid.
Well, you know, I mean, Coach Heinschel, he's had some of the greatest basketball players that the city has seen. So, nice move right there by Alls.
Bounced right off of Lichtenberg.
But, you know, back to the point, he understands how to develop leaders. That's why you come to St. John's and play basketball. Let's be honest. If you want to learn the game the right way, there's nobody better than him.
Here's A.J. Jump. 5 big points in the opening quarter. Moyer, tough shot, put it off the side of the backboard. Jump, driving, short. Picked up by Jonathan Burks. Cross was alone for the 3. That's another offensive foul on the Irish.
I want to replay that. getting an opportunity. I don't know if they're looking at them lowering the shoulder.
It's 2 on Samaj Cross now, by the way. Irish have been without Kendall Marshall for the last 6 minutes or so of game time as well.
You see Coach Floyd, he's over there talking to the head official, Ralph Green.
Gary Batch, terrific safety out wide, driving from the wing, lost it underneath the basket and kicked out of bounds by Burks.
Batch plays safety on the football team there.
Yeah, he sure does.
Wow.
Plays it very well.
6'4" safety, it's pretty nice. I was talking to Coach Larry McDaniel, head football coach over here before the game. He's excited about the upcoming prospects as well at St. John's.
As well he should be. You would have to think they'll be considered one of the teams to beat in the league next year. Metsopoulos rising up, can't connect on the 3. AJ jump, couldn't get to it in time.
This is a big possession right here if you're Central. You have to you got to score.
Fred Overton is a guy that can fill it up in a hurry. That time he wasn't on the same wavelength as Ray Sanders. The last time you and I saw Central Catholic, it was that 55-point win they had over Waite where they almost put 100 on the Indians.
Yeah.
That was the first high school boys basketball game of 2019 on BCSN.
We were so impressed with what they did defensively.
Obviously, they're struggling to score right now. Have they defended okay?
They did a good job defending. I think on the offensive end is where the troubles have been.
Off the miss 3 from Smith. It will stay with the Titans. That's Marcus Jarrett coming in. A rare senior sighting for the St. John's team. He and Moyer are the only seniors.
You know what's really good too? St. John's, when you watch this is a team that had a lot of they had a propensity to turn the ball over. They're doing a better job of that. See, they make you guard too. That you have to defend when you're playing this team. And you got to defend side to side.
Moyer, a catch and shoot 3. Didn't get the bounce. The stick back though from Gary Batch. He was Johnny on the spot, and the lead up to 13 for St. John's.
I'll be honest, I did not see this coming.
Nor I, my friend. Central Catholic in a position they are frankly not used to being in, down big. Foul called on St. John's. I mentioned this earlier. They have 5 losses this year, all of them by 8 points or fewer, beaten by 8 against St. Francis. Last time out, a 3-point loss at Whitmer, lost by 2 in double overtime to Cardinal Stritch, lost by 3 to Lima Senior, 2-point loss on a late basket down at Findlay. So this is a team that has been in a ton of close games.
Well, I did the Whitmer game, and that's the game they definitely let get away.
Nice move from Dominic Cole. Could not finish. That kind of sums up this first half, in all honesty, for Central Catholic.
Wow.
Caleb Smith threw up a wild shot. Active hands, though, to win it back. Batch dove after it, too. Smith 0 for 2 on that trip. Cole rips it down for the Irish.
Yeah, you got to make a strong move if you're Smith right there.
There goes Burks. This time, count the basket.
I'll tell you what, Burks has been a nice spark for this Fighting Irish team off the bench. He's been real aggressive on the offensive end in particular.
He's made a couple of really tough shots, too. 6'4" senior. Now, Central may not have a ton of high-end size, per se, outside of maybe Ray Sanders at 6'6", which, quite frankly, is pretty tall and pretty long for the area this year. But they have plenty of guys like Jonathan Burks that are between 6'2" and 6'4", very, very athletic with a long wingspan.
Yeah, they do, and they have a ton of athletes, Mace. So what they can do with their athletes. Whoa.
Those athletes got to close down Peyton Moyer a little faster.
I'll come back to that point later in the broadcast.
The Titans right now doubling up the Irish. the last minute and a half of the first half.
St. John's is just playing with a different energy, Mace. I didn't see this out of them early in the season.
Overton couldn't answer. Soaring in for the offensive rebound was Matthew Griffin.
It's Griffin right there, and that's what they bring. You know, you bring the Griffin twins off, they're going to give you something defensively.
Ton of energy, just like you said. Yeah. Matthew Griffin couldn't give them a basket there. Baseball pass just out of the reach of Peyton Moyer.
That's not the pass you want to make right now if you're St. John's. And you see Coach Heinkel, he's up top. Hey, man, we're up. We're up by 14. Let's take our time. Put the pressure on these guys.
If you're Central Catholic, you have to find a way to end this first half on a high note.
Yeah, you have to, because I'm telling you what, Mace, Central to me, they just don't look in sync. You know, they're not getting it. Now, granted, they got a couple guys in foul trouble. We're not seeing Norrells, we're not seeing Marshall, but this is a team, you know, like I said, all now that's what we are seeing.
That's another offensive foul.
That's 3. 4.
Wow.
And okay, make sure you hear me talk a lot about toughness.
Yes, sir.
Friday nights, Dennis Hopkins, if you're watching, toughness is not going up just smacking a guy. Toughness is standing in there, taking one on the chin, a charge. That's what St. John's is exhibiting tonight.
It was the 7th Central Catholic turnover.
Central is a team that normally takes very good care of the basketball.
You talk about that toughness. Reliably, Ed Heinkel has guys every year. They might wear white at home, but their collars are blue.
They are. I agree with you, Mace. You know, he has a couple football players of his own. And like I said, these guys went down the floor, and I think that's when it started. Oh, good rip right there by Alls.
Glide in for the layup. Well, Cameron Alls has come to play tonight. He's got 10 points. Here's Overton for 3. Not the end of the half that Ed Heinkel would have hoped for, but the first 15 and a half minutes or so went according to plan.
I would say, Mace, I mean, you cannot end on that. No, not if you're Central Catholic, though. That's a good note to end it on.
They will take anything positive they can come up with at all going into the locker room, because the St. John's Jesuit Titans trying to spoil Mike Floyd's homecoming. They're up 12 here at the half. We welcome you back here inside St. John's Jesuit High School. A 12-point lead for the Titans on the Central Catholic Fighting Irish. And you said it, Dion. I don't think either of us really saw this coming.
I didn't see it coming at all, but I tell you what, St. John's is playing with a different type of energy. Really fishing. And that guy right there, Caleb Smith, the guy that we talked about in the opening, has really been a difference maker just in terms of helping the overall team. He commands so much attention. But for Central on this end, as we see a little freeze move right here, Cameron Austin, he's going to have to do more scoring, and they're going to have to stop just playing out of control, Mason. They had 4 charges that first half.
We talked about the lift that Caleb Smith gave St. John's in the first half. How about A.J. Jump had a 30-second sequence to report in 5 points?
I thought Jump did an excellent job. Like I said, he's a freshman, but he's not playing like it anymore. A lot of confidence. And that guy right there, Peyton Moyer, Mr. Consistency. And he's developed that to his game as well. Actually, I did a play breakdown on Peyton Moyer going to the rack.
I saw that, by the way. It looked really nice.
Oh, man, and you see Birch right there. They're just going to have to get more to it, but Oz has been playing a really good job on both ends of the floor.
Doing everything that he can to keep Central Catholic in this thing. Not pretty viewing, though, the Central Catholic side of the ledger. 7 of 24 from the floor in the first half. 29% did not make a three, and a few too many turnovers.
Well, you know, Mace, when you shoot you're only shooting 29%, you know, from inside the arc. I mean, that's not going to beat a lot of teams. Conversely, you see what St. John's is doing. And when you look at that 3-point percentage field goal, it's because they're getting stuff going to the basket. Guys are helping out, and they're finding the open guy.
A lot of low percentage shots, too, from Central Catholic in the first half. A number of long twos and some wild shots going to the basket.
Well, I think that's what Coach Floyd is probably talking to him about. I mean, it's not over with yet, obviously, but this is a different St. John's team, and I've been telling people since the beginning of the year, watch out for them in the second half.
Halftime here at the Titan Dome. St. John's with a 12-point lead on Central Catholic. ready to go for the start of the second half here at St. John's. The Titans with a 28-16 lead on Central Catholic. It's time now for the Fan Cam, brought to you by HLS Orthodontics and Invisalign, an Invisalign team premier provider. Couple of top-notch student sections tonight. There's the Central Catholic side of things to our right. They didn't have a whole lot to cheer about in the first half. Got to try and will their guys back from the brink in the second half. St. John's dressed all in white. They always sound good. There was a lot to like about that first half performance from them.
I'll tell you what, that was probably, if not the best first half that they've had all year, is definitely one of them.
Back underway here at the Titan Dome. That is not the start to the second half that Mike Floyd and company were hoping for. Mason Lowry, Deion Thompson. How do you come back in this environment down by 12?
It's just a lack of concentration right there. Like, that was unforced. There was nobody around.
Already just 7 seconds into the half. Mike Floyd has had to make a substitution. Fred Overton comes in. Caleb Smith got off to a real fast start for St. John's. 7 points in the first quarter. Did not score in the second, but frankly, they didn't need him to.
Yeah.
Moyer thought about the pass, drives instead, spins, kicks to the wing. Brady Lichtenberg only 2 points before halftime.
That's what St. John's makes you do. They make you defend long stretches at a time, and they really do a good job of rotating the basketball. So you cannot, and they're waiting for somebody to fall asleep. This possession's already taken about 35 seconds.
Moyer, drive and dish to the freshman A.J. Jump.
If you make a team play defense for long stretches, somebody is bound to go to sleep, and St. John's did a good job of finding Jump.
Fred Overton cannot answer, tipped into the hands of Gary Batch. We get a foul called on Central Catholic. That's going to go on Norrells, I believe. And indeed, it's John Zell's second.
Well, they're going to have to just play through it right now. I mean, guys in foul trouble, they're veterans. They're going to have to learn how to play through that.
The Central Catholic program that the last 2 years they were very, very young. A lot of guys cut their teeth on the varsity level as freshmen and sophomores. Those guys are now mostly juniors. Nice tink by Brady Lichtenberg.
Beautiful offense right there. But you're right. Believe it or not, Central, if we're being honest, is a veteran team. I mean, these guys have plenty of varsity experience.
There you can see the safety in Gary Batch. Much bigger than your typical strong safety at 6'4". I feel like every year Ed Heinchel has a guy or two like Gary Batch, who doesn't do a lot of scoring but gets rebounds, plays good defense. Numbers 3-on-2. Here is Batch. Rolled off. The tip, though, goes for Smith.
That's the difference right there. That's been the main difference. St. John's getting hustle points. You know, Central's just been turning the ball over early.
Overton slipped it to Dominique Cole. Defended by Jump.
You know, that's the shot you want. You can't, not much more you can do right there. Wow.
Gary Batch. We said he doesn't score much. That was a big basket, forcing Mike Floyd into a timeout. It's full. 5:38 left in this third quarter. St. John's blowing this one wide open, up by 20. Well, Central Catholic just has not been able to match the energy of the St. John's Jesuit Titans tonight, trailing by 20. Mike Floyd, as we've gotten to know him a little bit over his first year as a head coach.
Love Coach Floyd.
Here in Toledo, he's an animated guy. He is almost always up out of his seat, always coaching. For the last minute or so, he has been sitting on the bench.
You know, I know what he's upset about. You know, as we see an and one right there by Fred Overton. It couldn't come at any time at a better time than now. But, you know, Coach Floyd is a guy, you know, he comes up with these game plans. Still a young coach, but there's only so much a coach can do. A coach, you know, he doesn't have any influence over guys not concentrating, guys just throwing the ball away aimlessly. That's not coaching. At some point, the players have to just, you know, suck it up. Now, this is where Central can really hurt you. When they start running, yes.
Cameron Alls off the turnover.
You may want to call a timeout if you're coaching.
He heard you. 30-second timeout taken by St. John's.
Well, that's what they do. Now, if Central, if they get that going, because we talked about Mason, they don't have the big guys, but they have a ton of athletes, okay? So when you have a ton of athletes, you can play this press type of defense that they like to play, because what's going to happen is if a guy is not hustling, he's got bodies on the bench that he can throw out there to give that effort.
Mike Floyd, of course, came from the college ranks, though before that he played here at St. John's under Ed Heinschel. Played on 3 Final Four teams, in fact. Terrific player back in his day.
Yeah.
We had an interesting chat with him before that game against Waite that we talked about in the first half, about some of the differences between high school and college coaching. He says, here I could spend more time in the gym with the guys. I don't have to worry about being out recruiting, any of that other stuff. We can focus a little bit more on basketball, which is something that he has really found enjoyable about the experience so far.
Yeah, if you pick your dribble up against these guys, good find right there. That's what being a quarterback can do. You see how Lichtenberg just scanned the defense and found the open guy? Perfect guy for the press breaker to have a quarterback there.
Here's Caleb Smith. 2 dribbles, 2 points.
I like the matchup. You saw Smith on Alls, went down to the block, took advantage of the size advantage.
Alls the drive and dish. That's Overton. Knocks in the corner 3. All 6 of his points have come in this third quarter.
Okay, now if you're St. John's, you better be very careful, because Fred Overton is a guy who will get started. He gets streaky. He will do that.
In the blink of an eye, it's an 11-point game.
You better know that man with the hairstyle where he is.
Batch almost dragged the back foot instead. A handoff to Caleb Smith, who glides in for an easy deuce.
But see, that's what Central's not doing. They're not sending the guy over to take the charge, and you see how the officials are calling it.
Kendall Marshall had to sit for a long time in the first half after picking up 2 fouls in the first quarter.
You penetrate and find the hot hand. This might be a heat check. It's just that high pick and roll.
Alls driving through the foul.
I'll tell you what, Central's doing a way better job on the offensive side right now. What they're doing, Mace, they're attacking the rim, and when they attack, you know, they're getting a lot of kickouts. And when Central scores, they're able to get into their press, and they press about as good as anybody you're going to see.
Alls now with 13 points. Matthew Griffin is up.
Well, he's a guy, he's one of those defensive back receivers that they have. He's perfect for what they're trying to do now. This may be like an offense for defensive sub. Oh, man, once again.
Alls picked the pocket of Caleb Smith. It's a 10-point game.
Alls is just a thief out here, and I'm saying it in the most complimentary way. We've seen him pick about 3 pockets in this game alone.
He has been dialed in. Now, if you're Central, you got to get a stop here. Peyton Moyer, worth noting, hasn't scored in the second half. Lichtenberg had it contested by Brandon Burks. Loose on the deck, found its way out to Moyer. Short on the three. And a whistle for a foul under the basket. Going to get Kendall Marshall for his third.
Wow. What's going to be going St. John's way? That's a big foul. That was really an unnecessary foul away from the basket. As we saw, you know, Moyer shot an air ball, and I think Central was in position to get the rebound.
Ryder and Mitsopoulos and Elijah Kimmons all come in. Kimmons gave Ed Heinschel a good shift in the first half. Moyer driving, kicking to Mitsopoulos.
Central starting to ratchet up that defense. That's a good D right there by Norrells.
Moyer, quick trigger. Second straight three that he's airballed. Lichtenberg couldn't get the follow to go, but strong hands to keep the Titans in possession.
I was going to say, he was just strong in everybody right there.
Moyer missed it. They're going to get Marshall for his fourth. He's not happy about it, but he wrapped up Jack Ryder.
Yeah, he's got to calm down. I want to take a look at that play again, if we can.
He's going to put an arm around Ryder on the way down. Watch it right there.
Okay, it was the left arm. Because I thought he had the ball.
I think he did until the other arm went around. And here's another look at it.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
There's a long possession for St. John's. Kimmons. Long empty possession in the end.
That's not the shot that they needed right there.
Norrells drew the foul before the shot.
Well, I'll tell you what, the momentum has definitely shifted, and it's going towards the Irish direction. Now, with the Irish in this particular lineup, they only have a couple scorers, so the guy you got to watch out for is number 23. That man has been single-handedly keeping them in this game so far, the third quarter, excuse me.
9 third-quarter points for the aforementioned Fred Overton.
And that's where you better guard him. You got to make sure that you know where he is. See, now if you get it to Norrells, you're going to have some opportunities. They're running that ball screen.
It really is a ball screen heavy Central Catholic offense. Nice drive from the wing. That was Burks, and he'll head to the free throw line.
That was a good drive by Burks. Good open side drive, strong move, drew the foul.
Brandon Burks, a 6'1" junior, has not scored tonight. Still hasn't. Missed them both.
See, you got to come up with something.
Lichtenberg able to beat the press. Into the last 50 seconds of this third quarter.
I think if you're St. John's, the worst case scenario, you go down. You go in up by 10. I wouldn't take a quick shot at all. I'd get the last shot. So now I'm going to see them run a set. Mitsopoulos is another kid, great football player, guy that got an opportunity. Now you have to start attacking.
That's not what you want.
No, you don't, but it's 4 seconds left. They just brought Alls back in the game, so you got Norrells and Alls, two of their top scorers.
Overton, just wide of the mark. And if you're Mike Floyd and company, you'll take that. Going into the fourth quarter, they were down at 1 point by 20. They've cut that deficit in half.
BCSN, available exclusively on Buckeye Broadband, is presented by PNC Bank for the achiever in you, and by Yark Automotive, just what you're looking for.
Fourth quarter underway here at the Titan Dome. Central Catholic within 10. St. John's got off to a tremendous start. In the third quarter, a rejection at the rim by Central Catholic. That was Ray Sanders, the big fellow. We talked about him earlier at 6'6". Overton on the drive. He was fouled.
Now, you heard me talk about energy. The second half, we're seeing Central play with a different energy. So what do you do if you're St. John's? I'm sure Coach Heinzel gave them a goal. And the goal probably should be, I'm going to say this, Mace. That's a great play right there. Excellent block right there by Sanders and Norrells. Your goal has to be now, and I never thought I'd find myself saying this. I always said for St. John's to be effective, they should keep score around 40. Well, now that they have some scores, if they can get to 60, it'll be very tough for Central. But I tell you what, Overton is just a bulldog out there on the floor. Ever since I first watched his game, I really like what he does.
11 points all in the second half. Thought Overton might pick off that pass as soon as it left the hand of Dmitry Mitsopoulos.
Oh, they missed. Kimmons was wide open.
We'll go on the attack, twisting, turning, left it short. Tipped by Samaj Cross to Norrells. Overton, you could tell as soon as he got the ball, he thought about a pull-up three.
Somebody better stay with him.
Caleb Smith, who's out on him. Dr. Cameron also was the catalyst in the first half for Central Catholic, really the only guy that was keeping the Irish in it. Cross, little long. The long rebound to Peyton Moyer. Cross almost took it right back. Oh, Showtime. Good hands from Kim.
Oh, Showtime! Showtime!
Wow!
Now that he can do. He definitely can do that. We just saw Kimmons ignite the crowd. I know it's Pop Bing. I know you watching it, man. Hey, woo!
Now, can the Irish find a way to answer? Mitsopoulos was holding on to Ray Sanders.
Let's take a look at this right here, mate.
Man, he can get up.
He gets up. He gets up, and I'm gonna tell you what, that was needed. I mean, you just saw the momentum. Oh,
that is not what they needed.
See, I'm not sure Alls has to hold it up.
Smith goes to work. Through the help. Taken right back by the Irish. John Zell-Norrells has not scored tonight.
You know what? That's true.
And he still hasn't.
Yeah. He's going to have to get it going. See, they had jump. You know, a lot of times they don't throw it into the post. Okay, I like what they're doing. So now they're trying to set something up.
Caleb Smith now has 15 points.
Man, you talk about a big boost coming in.
Now Norrells has scored, and a whistle away from the ball.
You know, when I watch Central, to me they're just doing a little too much moping around and things like that. They just gotta play basketball right now.
John Zell-Norrells right now, I think, is looking to the bench, begging not to be taken out of the game. And he's not real happy about it.
But you know what I mean? At some point, though, and I understand that because he's a competitor.
Absolutely.
100%. You know what I mean? Like I said, I know his mom, dad, great people. But I think Coach is seeing he's laboring a lot in his breathing. Central, if they get this down to single digits, yes, this is where Central's very effective when they get to run their sets.
Ed Heinzel didn't like that. Takes a full timeout. 4:31 to go. St. John's up by 10. .431 remaining. St. John's up 10 on Central Catholic. It was a 20-point game early on in the third quarter. Central Catholic has been able to close the gap, but they haven't been able to get much closer than 10 points.
No, and it seems like every time they start making a run, you always see St. John's come up with a big play.
Metsopoulos almost lost it back over half court. Oh, gonna get alls for the reach.
Wow. They're in the bonus right now. No, I take that back. I was reading the score wrong. That's only the fourth on Central.
They have a couple to give still.
Now you hear me talk that bonus talk while we're talking. Central is in there, so all they gotta do is start attacking. See, somebody's going to break. They make you guard so long. See, Mr. Reach out of position.
Ha! And then Metsopoulos found an extra gear.
Right, that was on John Zell, though. He made the reach wrap around, but then he got out of position.
Alls can't get the 2 points back. Gary Batch rips it down. He has had a quietly effective game, Gary Batch.
Yeah.
Only 4 points, but he's gotten some big rebounds. He's tough defensively.
I thought Batch has been being an X factor.
And this is where St. John's, historically under Ed Heinschel, is where they're so tough to beat. They really, really excel at spreading the floor out and a lot of times just eating up clock offensively. Here's Marshall at the other end. Can't hit the three. Almost topped over the backboard. That's booted out of bounds by Metsopoulos. It'll stay with the Irish.
I agree with you with that. But see, you got this guy Overton, Mr. Offense.
Fouled by Smith.
That is a smart play by Fred Overton. He recognized something. He recognized, hey, they're in the bonus. And Fred's a jump shooter, so what does he do? He takes the guy right to the rack, strong, draws the foul on Smith. Now he's going to the line.
Fun to watch, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. They're covering the games. I'm not sure there's a team that I've watched that's better at getting to the bonus than Central Catholic. They do a good job of really creating opportunities, you know, to get you know, the other team in foul trouble. They do a great job of that. So now when they score, makes what you talk about. They get to run their 1-2-1-1 press. They bring the athletes in. They bring Griffin. Griffin has long arms, speed, and this is tough to break.
They got it done though.
It doesn't stop. 5 seconds. See, that's why Griffin's in the game right there. That's what he's going to give you. He's going to give you that tenacious defense. We know he has those quick feet from the football field. That's where he earns his minutes. You know, it's him, a guy like Craig over at St. Francis, the other DB. Those guys are great defenders.
Alls, nice.
Oh, finished with the left.
Back to single digits now, 8 points with under 2.5 left.
They're very dangerous. Oh, Batch looks up. He had a good 2-on-1 opportunity with Smith.
And now a turnover, picked up by Overton. Getting awfully interesting at the Titan Dome.
It is.
Overton fouled as he got into the lane.
I'm going to tell you something. Overton is a guy. He's on my all-tough team. Let's take a look. He defends well behind the back. But what he does, Mace, even though we know he likes the three-point shot, he's a smart player. He attacks the rim. And now look, you know, and from this point on, I must say it again, Central, they are now in the double bonus. All they have to do is kind of, you know, they can create their own offense because now they can score. Now look, it's going to give them an opportunity to get in this press.
They've got fouls to give too. You mentioned it a minute ago. They've only committed 4 in the second half.
Well, now they're bringing Sanders in, very long arms. You got to be careful here because those guys, you still got to get the ball over. I think St. John's, I don't know if I would quite stall right now. They're kind of playing not to lose. You got to be careful playing this tight. But they do have fouls to give. So they can be aggressive with their traps right now.
Marshall then is fouled out.
You can bring the whole team over now. What coach wants to do is steal a timeout. You got to get over quick. So you have a few seconds before you actually have to make the sub when a guy fouls out. Now, Coach Heinzel's upset, but he does have time to do as long as his players are on the court. That's a little gamesmanship by Coach Hines, so he knows that.
I asked Ed if it was going to be sort of odd looking down to the other bench here and seeing one of his former players. He said it was only the second time he could recall coaching against a former player of his. He remembered Brian Miller, who was on some of his first teams here at St. John's, went on to coach at U of D Jesuit, and they played a couple of times.
Miller, what a great basketball player, had a great career at Bowling Green.
St. John's takes a timeout. It's full with 91 seconds left. The Titans trying to hang on, up by 6. Mike Floyd and Ed Heinschel.
I like that. Shouts out to the truck. Look at that. Split screen. I love it.
Mike Floyd has become an awfully good young coach. A lot of small college assistant coaching experience. Now an assistant admissions director at Central Catholic, along with coaching the boys basketball team.
Well, he picked up a lot of game, at that level. Now Moyer is the one guy you may not want to. He's pretty clutch once he gets to the line. But if you're Central, you don't have a choice. You need possessions. You gotta stretch this game out.
Moyer now has 12 at a 30-second timeout taken by Central Catholic.
So now we're seeing the offense for defensive substituting pattern, by Central Catholic. They want to get the offensive guys in.
The guy they called down to the end of the bench is Casey Hunt. Only a freshman up from JV, son of Kyle Hunt, who played at Central Catholic a while back, and the nephew of TJ Hunt, who was the Central Catholic head coach the last couple of years.
Well, he's a guy that can, I'm sure, he can shoot. If he's a Hunt, that name is synonymous with Central Catholic royalty and shooting, so I'm pretty sure that's why he's in the game.
Central has worked so hard to come back from 20 down. Got to get a basket here, and you cannot afford a lazy pass.
But they don't have a ton of time.
Nice roll, Ray Sanders to the basket, and an immediate timeout taken by Mike Floyd. It's full with 1:12 left.
Like I said, now we're seeing the offense for defense. And I'm going to say something. St. John's in trouble right now. It is not over. If they want to win this game, they got to close it out from the free throw line. You're going to have to meet every pass, and they cannot lob passes that allow the quickness of Central Catholic athletes to get a hold of those. There's plenty of time left.
St. John's only been to the free throw line 5 times tonight. They've made 4 of those 5.
Well, we're going to see now. We're going to see if they can ride out. If they want to put this team away, it's going to have to be from the free throw line. They can ill afford to, like I said, they can't be weak with the basketball. You got to meet every pass. You got to be strong with your passes. Now, if you're Central Catholic, you got to get your hands up. You have to go for steal. If you do not get the steal, you have to foul right away. You don't want a whole lot of time to go off the clock. I mean, it's a 2-possession game. They got a quick team here. Dangerous.
Trying to get it over half court. They eventually do. 1 minute left. Now you have to foul if you're Central. Alls was trying to force a jump ball.
Yeah, you don't have much of a choice, but you want to foul anybody but that guy.
That's Hunt back in for Burks. Peyton Moyer at the free throw line. Got them both. You always expect Peyton Moyer to make those.
Well, that's what he does. Now you got to get a quick. Yes, there you go.
Alls spinning, and the shot swirl out.
That's the drive. That might be the game.
Moyer back to the line at the other end. It's been a really valiant comeback attempt from Central Catholic. We talked about the energy that St. John's came out with in the first half. Central was able to match or surpass them in the second. Yeah,
I think they were. Had they not spotted them those 20 points, I think it would have been a different game. But then again, let's give St. John's a lot of credit here, because this was a team, Mace, that I'm sure a lot of people, when they jumped on them early, that they thought it was going to stay this way. And it's not. I mean, they're putting you on notice right now. I mean, they have a lot of good basketball left. And anybody that plays these guys are going to have some problems.
Back to a 10-point St. John's lead. Overton, he's had the hot hand of the second half. Not hot enough there. And Moyer back to the line, and that should about do it.
Yeah, that is going to do it. I mean, if we're being totally honest. I'll tell you what, Mace, we cannot really understate the impact of Caleb Smith just being on the court. Because what he gives you, he's another guy you have to worry about. Now, second half he was quiet, but the way he impacted the game, in the first half and finding his guys. And what about Moyer? What more can we say about him too? This guy has been consistent. He's found another aspect to his game in terms of going to the basket. It's a very formidable team. I'm telling you, watch out come tournament time.
Great free throw shooting down the stretch too from Moyer. Alls to the rack, left it short. Picked up by Lichtenberg. There's the quarterback in him. Nice three-quarter length pass to Smith. He's fouled by Cross.
That was effortless.
Smith obviously has made a big impact, but so is having a 100% Brady Lichtenberg too. He didn't play in their season opener against Rogers. Ed Heinschel told me we really need him out there because he's another shooter, which is something we don't have enough of this year.
Mace Lichtenberg, I know his family. He comes from an outstanding family, great young man, and I'm telling you, his future is really bright. I mean, you're right. Look how well he's moving around. You can never underestimate his impact, what he's brought to the team.
Smith, a very efficient 7 of 11 from the floor. We really liked him last year as a sophomore at Rogers. Thought he was a very good player, a star in the making potentially. Come into a really good situation here at St. John's. Titans will get to 7-6. Even it up at 4-4 in the conference. Central falls to 8-6, 3-5 in the league. And really, it was the first half performance from St. John's that really won it for the Titans.
Yeah, it really was. They came out. I mean, they were executing on all cylinders, actually. What they did on the offensive end of the floor, to me, was outstanding. I love the way their offense was working. Mace, they were actually making Central Catholic have to guard them, and they were finding an open guy. But, credit to them.
That'll do it for Deion Thompson and our crew. This is Mason Lowry saying so long from the Titan Dome. There's your final score. St. John's 56, Central Catholic 42. This has been a presentation of BCSN, seen only on Buckeye.